Constitution, even if it's arguably unconstitutional. I think that is the law of the land. So if we really want to change the Constitution, that's the way to do it. That being said, this is not the first we're going to hear of this, because we are going to see the administrative branch starting, this is my crystal ball now, starting to deport legally American citizens, even if they're babies, because they were born here, but they don't have one parent that's an American citizen. This issue will come up again. In my mind, at this point in time, it's clearly, unequivocally, 100% black and white, no gray. Any child that is born here is an American citizen. Period. End of story. Executive order or not. And there have been prior rulings by the Supreme Court that address this issue, if I'm not mistaken. A child born here of the immigrant where one parent is not an American citizen, and the Supreme Court has ruled time and time again that that child under the Constitution is still an American citizen. So I say, if you want to change the law, you don't do this law by executive order. You do it by an amendment to the Constitution. Let's see. Nobody is new on stage. So
I wanted to comment on that, Benjamin.
Well, we'll let you comment in turn. Go ahead and come on mute. We'll go to you. Let's go to Reverend Scott. Reverend Scott, thanks for holding down the fort, as John would say, managing the jalopy. Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I mean, look, this was decided in a Supreme Court case, right, in the 1890s, right, birthright citizenship. The Constitution, that people, that someone born here to parents who were not born here, and are not citizens, is a citizen. So, I mean, I guess what we would need is an authoritative interpretation of the Constitution that overturned that decision in the 1890s. There's a Chinese American man whose parents were from China and California, as I recall. So, I mean, I think you would have to either have a law or you'd have to reverse that interpretation, which has been the authoritative interpretation since the 1890s.
Hang on. We've got romance is new, and I think El Normo is new also. If anybody new wants to come up, we encourage you to do so. Romance, you get a fresh five. Good morning. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, how you doing? I did have a question. I'm not a legal scholar, but you guys might be able to answer it. I worked for a company that was kind of disreputable, and they would do things kind of like President Trump is doing. Like, they would do something they know is wrong and illegal first, and then, once you win in court, they said, oh, our bad. So if he does start deporting legal citizens to, like, who knows where, and they say, oh, that was illegal, what happens to those people? Like, I know the one guy they said, oh, we can't get him back. So what if they deport like 500,000 legal citizens, and then the court finally rules, no, you can't do that, you got to bring them back, and he says, too bad.
Thanks, Amazon.
Well, the remedy for people against Donald Trump is impeachment. Now, that does not apply to other people in the administrative branch, such as his cabinet members, etc. But the only remedy that I'm aware of right now is impeachment.
Yeah, but would that bring those people back when it's like
impeachment would not bring that person back? You'd have to do more than that to bring that person back or those people back. Are you good for now, or did you want to talk more, or are you good?
No, I didn't know if anybody wanted to discuss that part, bringing people back after they've been basically sent somewhere.
Well, if anybody wants to do that, take a scratch piece of paper, make a note, and we will come around to you, because everybody on stage gets to speak before the show ends. Let's go to El Normo. El Normo, good morning. Welcome back to Ask Uncle Steve and the Mod Squad. You get starting right now. A fresh five.
Well, good morning, Uncle Steve, man. let me just thank you for my fresh fry.
You're welcome.
So,
I couldn't tell from your tone if you thought I overdid that, but probably not.
No, I don't think you overdid it.
Okay. Well, thank you for the feedback. So this is an interesting ruling because the first time I heard about his plans to reverse the stare decisis or to violate stare decisis, which for those of you playing along at home, that means precedent, because there are a number of decisions that have supported the interpretation of the 14th Amendment to include people from other countries. The first time I heard about his intention, I thought, well, the language is pretty clear, and there's no way the Supreme Court would either violate the Constitution, as many feel that he's doing, or violate, at the very least, stare decisis, which is kind of the same thing.
Which is why their decision does not affect his executive order. Please continue.
Agree again. Good, and a good point. Their decision really pertains to nationwide injunction. So that's, in a sense, what we should be
Basically, I know I'm interrupting you, but I think
It's okay.
on one point, basically, it weakens and lessens the power of federal judges to only rule on the plaintiffs in their case, which does not affect the entire nation. Please continue.
Right. Or it strengthens the case against that, which it's the same thing. In other words, if and I noticed in a hearing yesterday that 5 federal courts have issued 35 of, I don't know what, 50 or 60.
Something like that, right?
Yeah. Of the total number of nationwide injunctions. So that if Joe Conservative in, I don't know what, Alabama, doesn't like something, say, that a liberal president does, if you think Biden was liberal, at least he was a Democrat, they could block that order for the entire nation.
A better way to describe it, if I may, is when Donald Trump or any president makes an executive order that affects everybody in the country, and a federal judge goes to either stay that order, or I forgot what the term is, that stay does not apply to everybody in the country. It only applies to the litigants in that particular case. That's what this Supreme Court order says. Please continue.
Yeah, and of course I agree, and I think it's interesting. There are arguments to be made on both sides because, let's see, against that decision, one could say that it weakens checks and balances, the ability of the judiciary to put a check on the executive branch.
I completely agree, which is why I'm totally against the decision, but please continue.
Yeah, and I noticed in the chat, by the way, somebody asked what's the administrative state, and in answer to that, it's the sort of permanent, some conspiracy types have called it the deep state. It's a permanent part of the executive branch that remains in place regardless of the administration. So whether there's Biden in the White House or Trump, the administrative state, which does actually issue regulations, and Steve, you probably know this pretty well as well, it's permanent. And interestingly, the permanent administrative branch under the executive worked against Trump in his first term. So he's a learner. I'll give him that. And
that's why he brought in people in this administration that arguably are not qualified, or clearly there are many people that are more qualified than the people he brought in, because he knew they would be, lack of better words, yes men. Please continue.
Or sycophants.
Okay.
For you, now I'm playing back, and we're doing stick together here. We're doing whatever comedy team.
Well, we're being entertaining as well as educational. Yeah, go ahead. Yes,
which is what it's all about.
Which is what the show is all about, to be educational and entertaining. Because, and it was said earlier, what helps educate people, or what's the best way to convince people that maybe they're not going down the right path? Education. How do you get you make learning fun? Please continue.
Which was one of my default modes when I was a New York City school teacher, and then later a New York City professor, college professor, at the undergrad and graduate level. That aside, if you are suggesting, Uncle Steve, that Fox News hosts are not appropriate members of his cabinet, I gotta laugh just to even consider.
By the way, did you hear about what the and Reverend Scott brought this to my attention, the $787 million lawsuit from Governor Newsom against Fox News?
No, I didn't.
I think I hit that amount right within $10 million.
But they say was there a judgment?
No. It was just filed yesterday. It was for Reverend Scott. Was it for libel?
Defamation.
Defamation. Yeah.
What did Fox suggest that he wasn't to answer them or something?
I tell you what, Reverend Scott. Hopefully you can do the heavy lifting. Just post it in the group chat. Anybody else can look it up on Google. The lawsuit was filed within the past 48 hours.
In any event, I was kidding about my question, obviously.
Right.
So, I mean, to suggest that we're not in clown time, I think would be difficult to really. And I don't think anybody could suggest that we're not in clown time right now. Although I should point out that I thought we were in clown time in the first clump.
Actually, Biden called Trump a clown in not the last debate, but the one before that. Called him clown.
Yeah, and he is a bit of a clown. He doesn't even mind. I think Trump doesn't mind being a clown sometimes.
He's also a liar and a bullshitter. We were talking about that earlier.
That seems redundant. But
you must have missed that part of the show. It was hour number 2.
And he's got some funny dance moves, and he likes to fly B-2 bombers, apparently, or at least send them on flights. First time the United States has...
and he likes to sexually assault women in the changing clothes of major department stores,
Well, as maybe you've forgotten, but I know, I have to remember her name. E. Jean Carroll. I know her personally. I've known her for decades, and she used to brag about that rendezvous. So I don't know if I'd agree with that characterization, but be that as it may.
I'm just reporting what the jury came back with and the jury's findings, that's all.
Yeah, in a civil case, awarding her money, not...
For sexual assault, for being sexually assaulted in the changing room of a major department store.
Yeah, based on...
I didn't say I agreed with the decision. I'm just reporting the facts in an educational manner, that's all.
It's very educational. I just want to make clear that he has not been accused of any criminality.
You mean he hasn't been accused?
Yeah.
You said
in that regard. Oh, sorry, maybe I slurred. He has not, and this case was funded by Reid Hoffman, if I'm correct.
And unfortunately, we have to end our shtick, so I'm going to go on mute and give you a few more minutes. That's going to give you about a fresh 10. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, nice. So I'm interested that he hit Iran. I think Iran needed to be hit right in the nuclear facility where it smarts, and I'm immeasurably proud of Israel's victory in a seven-front war, first hitting the tentacles of the octopus, the Houthis, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, Iraq, Shia missile launchers. I don't know if I'm forgetting anybody, some of the terrorists on the West Bank. And finally, the head of the octopus, which I think now has been disabled. The sneak preview, people are now a little bit concerned about the role of Turkey in the region. You smack down one terrorist and another head pops up, but that's down the road. Turkey is a member of NATO, and so now at least is an ally of the United States. So they're unlikely to be a threat in the near future. So I feel great about the end of the war and the minimal damage, fewer than 30 souls lost in Israel, including 5 Arabs. and a few buildings here, not many, and the massive intelligence and military campaign conducted by Israel and the United States. And I'm looking forward to increasing peace in the region, more countries joining the Abraham Accords, more business, and more prosperity for everybody. And I'm looking forward to a more pleasant few months in America going forward. So I hope we get that. And thanks for the time.
Thank you, Norm. First class escort to the VIP. Thank you very much. Let's go to Romance. Romance, you get a fresh 5. Good morning. Welcome to the show. What would you like to talk about? Romance, going once. Hey.
I already gave my piece before.
Would you like to say goodbye, or are you good?
I'm good.
Romance, you're good. Okay, hey, thank you. You got it. Thank you very much. First class escort, VIP. Let's go to Chase. Chase, would you like to say goodbye?
Adios. Peace out, Leia.
Absolutely. Thank you. And first class escort to the VIP. Christian, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye, everybody. Have a safe and blessed day. Got my show after this. You can check it out if you'd like to.
That's right. After my show, please, everybody, join Christian for Ask the Autistic, first class escort to the VIP. Dr. Francine from the Grand Canyon State. Would you like to say goodbye?
Thank you for reminding me it was the Grand Canyon State.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Francine.
This is my goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Francine. First class escort to the VIP. Les, would you like to say goodbye?
Bye now.
Thank you, Les. Short and sweet and to the point. Ben, would you like to say goodbye?
I would, except I was gonna comment on something Dr. Francine said.
Well, I mean, you can take a minute or two to say goodbye however you want.
Sure. By the way, speaking of the Grand Canyon State, I think another name for Arizona was Baby State, because it was the newest continental state that joined the Union. So on that, Uncle Steve and maybe Dr. Francine and others, I wonder if it'd be interesting to talk about what was the USA like in 1911 or 12 before Arizona joined? Because that seems to be that
there's 7 years away from the Spanish flu.
So okay, got it.
That's what it was like.
What I was saying is that that would mean that there were 47 states or whatever that were in the United States, plus Arizona. Meaning Arizona is just like this floating balloon on the continent, the land of America, North America, or at least where USA is. And by asking that, I'm actually curious as to how things worked. Was it one state, one territory, Arizona, whatever the reservations around that area, plus the United States of America? If that were the case, right? So maybe it's not hard to imagine, perhaps if things going the way they are, maybe California, Governor Newsom, or whoever the next governor will be, maybe we'll have a possibility that California is going to be the new Arizona plus the 49 states or 47 states that are remaining in the United States. If Trump keeps sending, Marines, maybe now the Air Force next to enforce what he considers a lawless state order or something like that. Anyway, something to think about. How would we envision that particular situation exist with obviously a ridiculous thought of having one state secede from the Union and bring us back to 1911 or prior. Anyway, so that's sort of my thought on a point of discussion. Again, it's very ridiculous.
Okay, this is the Ben Show. Deep State Trump Derangement
Syndrome. It could be an interesting exercise to see how things survive.
Thank you, Ben. First class